Hey everyone, Melanie Muenchinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I have two new projects for you with my newest set from Gina K Designs, Men of Faith, and I'm going to show you how you can use this bold silhouette with your pattern papers to create two cards with one stamp and one cut. Really fun to do. I don't know what paper this was. I couldn't find it in the Gina K store. I think it came as a set of knit prints with one of the past kits. I'm going to be demonstrating these designs using two more of the masculine patterns that are in the Journey of the Heart pattern paper pack from Gina K Designs. And I love that one because it's got some really pretty florals, but then also the ones that will work better for masculine cards. I just love these textures. In addition to the Men of Faith set and the Journey from the Heart pattern paper pack, you're going to need some ink pads. So I'm going to use the coordinating navy for the greetings, and then I'm just using the Moonlit Fog, but because we're going to be stamping on the back of our pattern paper, this just needs to be a lighter ink, dark enough so that you can see it when you're cutting, but light enough that it's not going to be coming through that paper. This is a thick paper, but you might be using a different pattern. I'm also going to be using the Musical Medley rubber background. This is 6x6, so this is going to work perfect for that background mat. I've got a sponge dauber, and then I've got some cardstock. So I just have a white base for one of my cards, and then I'm going to be using a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of paper for that background. And then I'm also going to be using for the other card another A2 size white base. Then for my background paper, I'm going to be using some of the Pure Luxury Sandy Beach. I've got a little white strip I'm going to put on there, and then some navy and white for my focal point. I will post these measurements below the video. And then we're just going to be using some scissors for cutting out that silhouette. And then you'll want just a little scrap of paper to create whatever you're going to be putting on that. I'm not going to be doing diamonds on this plaid paper. You could just do maybe a square or a rectangle piece for the greeting. So let's begin by starting and stamping out the silhouette onto our pattern paper. And so I'm going to have this, right now it's on the 4x6 block. It'll also fit on the 3x4 inch block. I'm going to use the Moonlit Fog, and I'm going to ink this up. And one really fun thing about this, it's like paper piecing, except you don't have to line up the image. Since you're using it on the back, whatever you cut out is going to work when you put it onto your card. But I love this design because when the stamp is new, and especially with a bold image, sometimes you can omit a little part or maybe get a spot, or when the stamp is sticky, it's just resisting the ink a little bit. You don't have to worry about that because you're stamping on the back of the paper. So I'm just going to put that right into the corner, and I'm not using the hands on this image. Once again, I didn't on the first one that I showed, but because I'm going to be cutting this out, you can leave the hand on there. So I'm going to pick this up. So it resisted just a little bit, but I wasn't being too careful about pressing it all over or stamping it again because I knew I would be cutting it. Now when you cut this out, let's say that the particular man that you have in mind maybe has a sharper nose or a larger nose or a more pointed chin. You can make some tiny little adjustments to your cutting to personalize that man. So I'm just going to cut this out now, but I'm going to just cut on the line so that you can see. And it's not any man in particular. I just tried to make him handsome and manly. Had some characteristics of people that I know, but that I made little changes just so that it wouldn't look like anyone in particular. I hope you saw the example that I shared during our release party, or if not, then later online, how this silhouette can snuggle and nestle in so it's looking like it's touching foreheads with the silhouette from Women of Faith. Okay, so now we've got this silhouette, and then we've got the negative of the silhouette. So I am going to cut this down for my second card, and that would fit on there just like that, right in the corner. And we would just trim this down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 and pop up a greeting over it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this on this smaller piece of paper here. And if you need to trim that down, you can. This is going to go just right on top of this navy. So I'm going to use a little bit, I didn't mention the glue that I was going to be using, but I'm going to be using either the Gina K Connect glue. Oh, and I think I actually used it to go wrap a gift, so I don't have it here on my workspace. That's okay though. I'm just going to keep going and just lay it out and show you how it would look. So let's pick out the greetings. So let me show you on this one what I did, where we're going with that design. Right over here. So I wanted to put one, thankful for you. So this one is for my dad. He's a big music lover. So I'm going to use the navy ink, and I'm going to use some of the greetings from this set. So I did thankful, and you're just going to want to have either a grid line block or a small block for these small words. So I'm going to do thankful, and then for you. So here's the you, and find the your. So the you, right there. And let me flip this over and put it on top of that little divider sheet if you use those binder boxes, so that I can find the for. So many different words on here, sometimes it's hard to find the one that I want. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Okay. And this is a Century Gothic font, and it matches the font that I have in my very popular Inspiration Mosaic. If you want to mix these together, I've got a card that I used this set in our hop. Okay, and now let's go ahead and make our background with the sandy beach paper. So I'm going to put this aside, and we're just going to ink up this music background. So I'm not going to do the whole thing because I know it's not going to take up the whole thing. And if you want more of a weathered look, then go ahead and skip some spaces. It doesn't have to all be stamped solidly with this music. So I'm going to lay this down and press all over. And I did another card last week where I showed that you can put a piece of scratch paper over this just so that you're not getting ink on your fingers when you're going up to those edges. Not too worried about it though this time because I'm going to be sponging onto that. So I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to just take my sponge dauber and just go around the edges, and a lot of this is going to get covered up, but I want some parts to look dark and some parts to look lighter just so that you can see that sandy beach paper through. And if you want, you can use the white, but I really like the warm, kind of more vintage tone that this sandy beach paper provides. And it goes really nicely with both that plaid and the argyle and that script on that print. Okay. So we're done with that. So I did another little layer of white here just because I wanted to make that pop. But you would just go ahead and layer this onto the white paper. And then you have that just little white strip right here, and that's just going to break it up a little bit and just give a little bit more visual interest to your card. And then we're just going to pop this up with some foam squares to add dimension. And then you've got your silhouette. So let me show you here. So I forgot to cut this down. I put it all on the 6x6 paper because I was looking for this argyle. But again, this would layer on just like this so that you have that really graphic looking print, just suggesting that male portrait. And let me show you this one again here. And I'll find out from Gina what print this is, but lots of different options. If you don't have pattern papers in your collection that you don't think work really for masculine cards or for the look you're going for, then I would just recommend that you go ahead and use one of these great backgrounds. So this definitely would have worked if I had created a piece of pattern paper with this same print then flipped it over and stamped my silhouette on the other side. So I hope this gives you ideas for how you can use this silhouette to do kind of a faux paper piecing and just cut it down, but then also make 2 cards from 1 cut. Please visit us at my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, and also at Stamp TV. Thank you so much for watching today. God bless.